right, welcome back everybody to another edition of Run for Covers. This is the video series that I do where I talk about those sets of covers, those runs where they just come up with like a theme and they just run across multiple titles. And, like I said, it's a theme, Run for Covers. It's a run. Hopefully it's self-explanatory. I thought it was pretty good when I came up with it. Hopefully it still makes sense. Now, I know I've done a lot of Marvel runs with some of the themes, especially with like the Halloween and some of the horror and the zombies. I'm going to switch it up a little bit this week, thanks to JJ for making this suggestion. I was like, you know what? This is a good run to cover. So we're going to move off of Marvel for this week, and hopefully you guys are willing to take that trip with me and check out some other books that aren't, MCU related. That being said, hopefully you like this series as well as all the other content here on the channel. If you do, please let me know in the comments. And like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Check out the merch if you are so inclined. We do appreciate it, and it does help us keep the lights on. But outside of that, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll be back with this week's run of books. All right, so for this week, as I teased there in the open, we are going to move away from Marvel just for a week. I know I kind of favor Marvel because that's mostly the books that I have and mostly what I like to collect and read, but I do enjoy, Independence, Image, DC, and all that kind of stuff too. So this week, we're actually going to delve in to the world of Dark Horse. Again, thank you, JJ Maxwell, for suggesting this. I thought it was a pretty cool idea, and yeah, so I'm running with it. We're talking about the 25th anniversary Dark Horse run of covers from 2011. Now, these are all 1 in 10s incentives on these books. And yeah, a lot of Dark Horse titles didn't sell very well, while others sold very well. So the print runs on these are going to be pretty far apart. It's going to be an interesting little run of books, and hopefully you enjoy it. Basically, what they did was they did roundabout a book a month. So I'm going to do these in order that they came out. Now, they didn't particularly come out once a month, but it was pretty close. Like, it was pretty much like it would come out on like the 1st of May and then like the 30th of May. So things like that. Like, it's basically one a month for these 1 in 10s to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Dark Horse. So over that year, all these titles got 1 in 10 variants. And it starts off in January with this Vader book that I've been showing since we opened this door. And this is Darth Vader and the Lost Command #1. This is a 1 in 10 cover by Douglas Wheatley. Estimated run of about 1,800 copies on this based on the print run. So as you could tell, and as you could probably guess, this book had about an 18,650 print run total. So a 1 in 10 would give you about 1,800 thereabouts. So that's how we came up with our estimates. Enough on that. We're going to move on to see what is available for this book. If you want to go look for this pretty cool Vader, I do dig this. I like the layout of this. I saw one once and I did not pick it up and I missed out because it was gone the next time I went back to that shop. So sometimes you need to act. When you see a book that you like, as long as the price isn't outrageous, just act. Don't go, well, let me think about it. Because sometimes when you think, you miss. And this one, I missed. Not to say that you can't find one, because there are copies out there if you wish to pick them up. It's just, I don't really feel like paying these prices, because the only ones out there right now that I could find were graded copies, and I'd prefer a raw. But for the graded copies, $325 for a 9.6 and $450 for a 9.8 roundabout, it's just a little steep for me for this 1 in 10. So I'm going to keep my eyes out again, searching for that raw, and see if I can come up with one for a price that I'm willing to pay. And if you want to check what's actually sold, well, copies do sell and raws do come up. It's just none right now. And $40, October 18th, when at auction, 17 bids. All right, I could do that. Like, that's probably the upper limit of what I might do for this book. But it's something I consider. I think about playing. October 12th was a best offer on about $40. And again, in September, same thing. Best offer accepted on $40. So you can see this is about a $40 book roundabout. So if you do find one, just keep that kind of price point in mind if you are also as interested as I am in this one. Now, that was for technically for January of 2011, which would take us into February for the next book and the next title, which was a Conan book. This is pretty cool. And as you can see, they kind of work in the number 25 into the image. These are virgin like covers that all they have is the virgin image with a 25 usually worked somewhere into the art, as well as that little Dark Horse 25 stamp. So that's why I actually had to put the title cards here, so I knew what book we were talking about because it's not actually on the cover. So this King Conan Scarlet Citadel #1 is also a 1 in 10. Gerard Perel cover. I do like his art, and about just under 1,400 copies for this one. So a little bit less than the Vader, but still really cool cover. And I love the blood smeared 25. Like it just makes this kind of unique and kind of special to me when you have the 25th worked into the art itself. I think it's actually pretty cool, and that's one of the things I really like about this run of covers. And if you're interested in this Conan book, you can see that there are copies available, 20 to 30 bucks roundabout is what it'll cost you. And if you are interested in Conan, make sure you go check out Mike Morello's unboxing on Mike's Closet. I dropped it on Saturday. He unboxes this huge Frazetta-based statue of Conan, just this huge bronze thing. It's ridiculous. Definitely go check that out if you are into Conan, or just check it out anyway because it's kind of cool. That being said, let's move on with Conan to what actually sells for this Conan book. And that would be about, 20 bucks. So still right in that range. 21.10 is what was the buy it now price on November 1st. So it's a relatively recent sale. So people are still kind of looking for these, I guess. It's not a secret. I mean, they are 10 years old at this point, but they're pretty cool books. And we're going to move on to the next book, which, like I said, this one I don't think came out in March. I think this came out in like the first week of April. And but it still kind of fits that monthly because, again, they're at least 4 weeks apart. Basically a monthly schedule on these. But the next book is Usagi Yojimbo. I think it's number 137. And you can see there, 25 in the background, gathering snow. While it's not as cleverly worked into the background as it's just a giant 2.5 that's in the background, it's still pretty cool to see that 25 worked into the art. So Usagi Yojimbo 137, 1 in 10 special, also a cover done by Stan Sakai. This one's only got about 480 copies estimate because the overall print run of this book was only about 4,800. So a 1 in 10 on a 4,800 print run is pretty tough. It's going to be pretty tough for you guys to find. And if you go looking like I did, well, you may come up empty like I did. So there are none available right now that I could find of this book, of those 500 or so that are out there. And I've got no record of any selling either in the last 3 months. So this one could have been a nice little contender for chasing ghosts. And maybe we'll loop back to it at one point, a few months down the line, if need be. But this one is not an easy find. So you might want to consider this, keeping an eye out for this one. Because, like I said, it seems to be tough. Which will take us to our next book, which I believe came out the end of April. So we're still in the same month, but again, we're going one a month roundabout through the year with our 4th book. And this was a Hellboy book. And you can see Hellboy there with the 25 worked into the background, and the other characters there. Mike Mignola, pretty cool. And this is Hellboy. Buster Oakley gets his wish. This was a one-shot, so this is a one-off book. Which is also going to make it might be a little tough to find because Hellboy can be tough to collect because there's just so many different stories where it's just hard to keep things in order. Things are just all over the place. Usually when I find a Hellboy run, I don't know what I'm looking at. I just start grabbing. If it's cheap enough, I just start buying books because they are pretty cool reads. I have picked up the library editions, the collected editions, because I do want to go through all of them one of these days. But from what I've read of the Hellboy books, I do enjoy them. So. That being said, 1 in 10, Mike Mignola, about 1,900 copies on this one. So it is not as tough as the Stan Sakai, but still, you may not find these that easily. But if you go looking for this one, 30 bucks raw, about 400 bucks for a 9.8 is what'll run you if you go shopping for this right now. Again, pretty cool cover. I like how the 2.5 is worked into the art. Yeah, I just think it's kind of cool. That's what I really like about this run. The art is unique. These pretty much virgin covers, apart from the little Dark Horse 25 stamp, make these interesting books to find. And if you want to see what's sold, well, there are none to sell. None sold that we could use to kind of gauge the price on the market on this one. So you're just going to have to look at those asks, and if you're willing to pay for it, go ahead. If not, then just keep looking, like me. I like hunting for books for cheap. So I provided these prices of the asking prices and the sale prices just to give you some general information. And if you're interested, you know what you're looking for and what's out there and what other people have been paying for, so you can make a call on your own what you want to do. For me, I generally try to find things cheap. Regardless of any of this stuff with these prices, I'm going to still look for a deal because, well, I don't know. I don't have a lot of money to spend on comics. My wife won't let me spend that much. So what little I can put into the comic hobby, I do. So I'm trying to get more bang for my buck by just being patient and looking for deals when I can find them. Which is going to take us on to May. Moving on to May, we're going to get into another Star Wars book here. We have Qui-Gon there, right on the cover. 25, worked in the art. I dig it. This is Star Wars Jedi Dark Side #1. Stephanie Rue. I don't know if I'm saying that. Stephane. I don't know. Stephanie Rue, if I'm saying it properly. 1 in 10. Just under 1,900 copies on this one. Pretty cool. You know, Star Wars image there. We got the, like I said, the 25 worked into the, looks like the Star Destroyer floating above them. Definitely a cool looking image there with the kind of a, I don't know if it's sunset. I guess this would be a sunset, more of the orange. Maybe it's sunrise. I always get those mixed up. But available copies, regardless of sunsets and sunrises. Available copies. Only one I could find, I think, was this auction that's got started at 99 cents with 6 days on it. So we'll see. There's one up for $1 if you want to go bidding. At the time of me finding this, 6 days left. So I think this ends on Saturday. So, you know, 4 or 5 days probably by the time you guys are watching this. And if you want to see what actually sold on this book so you can kind of gauge that price, well, $13.50 at auction, and then I buy it now for about $43. So prices kind of varies here. Your mileage may vary, as Mike Murillo likes to say. $13.50 to about a little over $40 on this, depending where you find it. Now, some of them may not mislead you, but mismark this as, look, they listed this as 1 in 25. These are all 1 in 10s from what I gather. I think every one of them is 1 in 10, so that's the ratio of what we're looking at here, incentive ratio. Which is going to take us to June, as we are right at that halfway point. June, this cover. Could you have guessed what this cover was just by looking at it? Probably not, because it's been a while since we've seen anything from the Guild, but this is a one-shot Guild Bladezz one-shot. 1 in 10. Pretty cool. That is a Sean Phillips cover. Pretty cool. I see it. After I saw who the artist was, I was like, oh, I do see Sean Phillips there in this art. But just under 1,000 copies on this one. So it's going to be on the tougher to find side. Because, again, the Guild was a very short-lived little comedy, little short minis, shorts. I believe they started on Xbox, I think it was. I don't even remember. Or Microsoft. Regardless, it was kind of funny. I kind of enjoyed them. But moving on for this comic, we're talking about available copies here. There are none. So if you're going out shopping, you're not going to be able to find one, at least right now, on the eBays. But hey, who knows? Maybe your shop has one. So again, 1 in 10's not an unreasonable amount. So there are going to be copies out there. Only about 1,000, but copies. And if we want to see what actually sold, well, the story is the same on this, the Guild Bladezz one-shot. None out, none sell. So what are we going to do? But move on past the midpoint to our July book, which is our, I think, our third and our last Star Wars book in this. Dave Dorman, I think, did this cover. Pretty cool. I like the lightsaber through the wall with the 25. It's like I said, they work into the art. I kind of dig it. But 1 in 10 Dave Dorman for Star Wars Invasion Revelations #1. A little over 1,700 copies on this one. Like I said, pretty cool cover. And if you want to see what this one goes for right now, the asking prices at least are $30 to $60. So not too cheap. I mean, but I don't want to say not unreasonable, but it's 1 in 10. So keep that in mind. 1 in 10 with about like 1,800 copies or whatever. $30 to $60 is what the prices are right now. And if you want to compare it to what's actually sold, well, last sale was just under $30. 11 bids at auction. So auction also gives you a good sense of price too, because then you can see there's 11 bids on this. So there was some back and forth, a few people looking, a few people interested. This is where the market, at least in September, landed on this book. That's right around that $30 range. So again, you make that call. You find one yourself, what you want to pay for it, which is going to take us into August, I believe. We're up to 8. So for August, we have Angel and Faith. Again, pretty cool. You got the 25 laying there, down there on the ground. As that looks like they're in London, maybe in London town or something, or I don't know, some sort of clock tower there in the background. But Angel and Faith, #1, a 1 in 10 by Georges Janty. I'm just butchering the name. I can't do the accent. I don't know, but just under 2,300 copies on this one. So there's plenty out there. If you want to see what's available, you can see this thing can be had for as low as $6 or as much as $27. So You can find it for cheap. You can find it for a little bit more. It's a 1 in 10. Plenty of copies, 2,300 or so out there. But still kind of cool. I mean, not always easy finding Angel and Faith books, right? And we want to see what actually sold on this. Well, sales, well, there are none. So we can't tell what the market actually will pay. But with that low of an asking price, then you can set the market yourself. So it's basically what you are willing to pay is probably going to be what it's going to cost, you know? It's going to keep us in the Buffyverse with our September offering, which is Buffy. And I like the stone she's sitting on there in the graveyard on the 25. Again, working into the art. Same artist, Buffy the Vampire, Season 9, Issue 1. And yeah, 1 in 10. But this was a heavily printed book. Those Season 8s and Season 9s of Buffy were very heavily printed and well received, as they weren't making shows anymore. So people were continuing the story here in the comics. So almost 4,300 copies of this one at a 1 in 10. So you can see Buffy was selling pretty good for a Dark Horse book with 43,000. I mean, that's a pretty solid, even today, 10 years later, that's a pretty solid print run on a book. But for the incentive, at least here, 4,300 copies means there's got to be plenty for you out there with her sitting again on that Dark Horse 25 little tombstone kind of action there. Pretty cool. You want to see what's out there if you're interested. Again, $6 to $20 is what they're asking. So could be cheap, could be a little bit more pricey, but not too bad. And the market on this one is, well, somebody bought one for at auction for $10 in the end of October 22nd. So they're there. Which is going to take us to October. So we're going to get off the vampires and the Buffyverse and go in here with Mass Effect. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Again, 25, worked into the background. The artist here was Paul Renaud. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I always see this name on Vampirella covers. I think he does a lot of Dynamite work, a lot of Vampirella covers. But this 1 in 10 is for Mass Effect Invasion #1. And there are only 860 potential copies of this. So the overall print run was only about 8,600. So a 1 in 10 would yield us about 860. That's where we got our numbers from again. Pretty cool cover, though. I kind of like it. I did like the game, even though I didn't finish all 3 of them. They were just way too in-depth and too long. Maybe one day we'll go back to them, but I did enjoy them. But what's available in this comic? There aren't any. As you can see, some of these lower printed ones, they're pretty tough. They're pretty tough to find. And if we want to see what's actually sold, well, one did sell. 2 bids on an auction, $5. And it looks similar to one of our last sellers, because that box, inside a box picture, makes it look familiar. So it looks like the same as that Buffy that sold. But September 19th on this one was that auction, $5. So pretty cheap. Or it could have been a good deal. Who knows? Because there's none out there. If you want one too, you can't find one. So good luck. Moving on to our next book as we come in towards the close. Jenny Frison. I dig this. It's pretty cool. The Occult. Interesting title. I think this is volume 2 of The Occultist. I'm sorry. The Occultist #1, a 1 in 10. Jenny Frison. Only going to be about 570 copies of this one. So this is going to be tough. So any of you Jenny Frison collectors, this is going to be one of those tough books too for you to find. And I like collecting her art as well. So this is one I'm going to keep an eye out for. Again, I like how the 25 is worked into those with the flowy like robes and just the background design with the the pentagrams and everything. I think it's pretty cool, the outline and border, and then the snakes and the spade or upside down heart. Cool design. I dig it. I like Jenny Frison. I like this art. I'm going to be looking for one, but as I was looking for one, I couldn't find any. And if you want to see what actually sold, well, story is the same. There are none. So this is another one of those tough books that, I don't know, maybe I could have put a couple of these in the Chasing Ghosts list, because I'm just not finding them. Just not finding them out there. But we got one more book in the run, just kind of wrap us up here. And this is classic Eric Powell. Look at that. It's pretty cool. The Goon, right on top of that, 25th. The 25 there in bricks as the creatures and tentacles are going out there to reach him. The Goon, number 37. 1 in 10. Again, like I said, Eric Powell cover, and only 878 potential copies of this one too. Again, while the Goon is I would say, relatively well-known character, doesn't have a huge print runs. I don't think sells a lot of comics. I just think a lot of people are aware and are interested, but I don't know. There's a lot of steady readers sticking with those Goon titles. All right, if we want to see what's out there for this book and available, if you want to go searching for one, I mean, I kind of want to go looking for one because I think this is actually a pretty cool cover. But unfortunately, there's none out there to buy. So again, foiled foiled again with no options. But I really dig it. All those little eyeballs there in the shadows. It's really cool design. And I do like a lot of Goon covers. I just don't have enough. I always want more than I actually have. But if you want to see if any of these actually sold to get an idea of what one might go for, if you do find one, well, there is one sale. There was one October 14th, $32 one sold for. So get that $30 range, which seems kind of standard for a lot of these books. And some are a little higher, some a little lower, depending on that print run. This one seems pretty tough, though. Again, under 1,000, it's going to be a little bit tougher to find. But I like it. This is another one I keep an eye out for, along with a few of these. This is a set I wouldn't mind trying to build out. It just might be pretty tough getting a hold of some of those lower printed ones, like the Frison and the Sakai, Usagi Yojimbo. So we'll see. If I can stumble into a couple of these, maybe I try to build out this set. But thank you again, JJ, for recommending this set. I think it was kind of cool. I had fun doing it. And hopefully the rest of you guys enjoyed that as well. Let me know in the comments what you think. Make some more suggestions of things you want to see. Because like I said, I take suggestions and use them. If you guys give me something I find interesting, I'm going to look into it. Because that's what I'm doing here. I'm looking into stuff that I want to know a little bit more about and sharing what I find with you guys, whoever wants to check it out. So hopefully you enjoy that, and hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as all the other stuff we're doing here on the channel. Let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Keep telling your friends. We can keep growing the channel and do some more giveaways. And with that all being said, I guess I will see you guys soon with something else.